Hello, everybody. I'd like to thank you for attending the first of a series of 4 extended warehouse management webinars featuring SAP and YASH technologies. My name is Tom Hanslick, and I am the Practice Director at YASH for Consumer Products and Wholesale Distribution. Our topic today is the Extended Warehouse Management Solution from SAP. You'll see a live demonstration of one of the advanced features, Wave Optimization. Our title we call for today is How to Increase Picking Productivity with Wave Management. As the moderator of this webinar, there's going to be a few guidelines. The webinar will be recorded, and a copy will be available on demand at the YASH website after the presentation. We will mute all phones, and you can ask questions at any time throughout the webinar by using the text area box. Submit your questions to that text area box, and we will respond at the end. The final 15 to 20 minutes, we will answer your questions that we received during the webinar. Let me take a few minutes to introduce the presenters for today. My name is Tom Hanslick, and I have over 30 years of manufacturing and distribution experience. I used to manage a warehouse in the South Atlanta area, and I've been working with the SAP solution for the past 15 years. Joining me today from SAP is Richard Kirker. He is the Solution Manager for Supply Chain Execution and is responsible for the Extended Warehouse Management product. Richard, at this time, can you please provide a little additional background about your experience?
Yes, Tom, thank you very much. As Tom said, I'm with SAP Solution Management. I've actually been with SAP for 17 years. For the first 8 years, I worked in SAP Consulting, implementing warehouse management solutions at a variety of customers in different industries. I joined Solution Management in 2005 and was there at the first release of Extended Warehouse Management and have been working with the solution ever since. And we're now in our 7th release, and I'm still supporting our customers, our field, and partners with the Extended Warehouse Management solution.
Thank you very much, Richard. We're excited to have you today. Also joining me from YASH Technology is Michelle Yingling. She is a Senior Solution Engineer and has over 15 years of experience with SAP in both pre-sale and delivery. She has worked in manufacturing for 18 years and is ISO 9001 certified. Another attendee from YASH is Shankar Venkat. He is our subject matter expert for the Extended Warehouse Management solution. He has worked with the SAP Supply Chain Solutions for the past 10 years. He has spent the most recent 7 years doing EWM consulting products at companies such as Caterpillar, Ford, Honeywell, and John Deere. Prior to YASH, he has worked as a consultant at Deloitte, CSC, and NTT Data. The agenda for today, I will cover a brief overview of YASH technologies as an introduction, and then I will hand it off to Richard Kirker, where he will review the Extended Warehouse Management solution, and he will also then cover insight into Wave Management. We will then proceed to a demo, which Michelle and Shankar will show you Wave Optimization. Afterwards, Richard will go back to Richard, and he'll talk about the innovations of the future roadmap for deliverables for the Extended Warehouse Management solution. Then I will talk about the solution offering from a rapid deployment solution created by YASH. And at the end, we will answer any questions that we received during the webinar. Like I said earlier, just type in the text box your questions, and we will respond to those at the end of the webinar. YASH overview. YASH Technologies is an SAP end-to-end software and service provider, and we were founded in 1996. So we're a global company, and we're growing with over 3,500 employees worldwide. We are a gold-level software reseller partner with SAP, which is the highest achievable level for SAP partners. YASH has been successful by being customer-centric with a flexible approach to delivering solutions to our clients. YASH has 9 certified SAP All-in-One solutions. These allow you to take advantage of industry-specific best business practices that are built into the enterprise resource planning. This allows you to shorten implementation times, speed up your time to value, and reduce total cost of ownership. We also offer a comprehensive suite of SAP solutions, some of which include business intelligence, SuccessFactors, and SAP HANA. At this time, I'd like to pass the overview off to Richard Kirker. Richard?
Thanks, Tom. So I'll give a brief overview of EWM, and then we'll go into the deep dive of one of the optimization techniques of waves management. Next slide, please. So the warehouse management solutions can be categorized into core and extended capabilities. So this is something that analysts do, is look at what is the basic warehouse management or core capabilities, which is a locator system with direct input away picking, etc., and your basic functions of a warehouse system. And then the extended capabilities may include things like labor management, extending into the yard, slotting, scheduling, resource management, and so forth. And so we look at EWM as being the larger set of functions to have a complete function of a world-class warehouse management solution. And these business functions are then supported by underlying technologies that include analytics for transparency, event management, performance management, and then supported by integration with technologies such as voice, radio frequency, RFID, and control of automated technology. And EWM supports all of these functions in the extended category. Next slide, please. For this slide, just to give you an idea of the completeness of the solution, as we said, it's a world-class solution. So we are basically with this in competition with your niche players that are specialists in warehouse management. And you can see here the completeness of the solution across the inbound, internal, and outbound processes. So including things such as, integration with environmental health and safety, quality, in global trade. We support both kit to stock, kit to order. We support various cross-docking methods, including some specific to retail, such as merchandise distribution and flow-through, catch weight, and also the ability to support not only DCs, distribution centers, but also warehouses supporting production. And we have a wide variety of customers in industries that are doing both. Next slide, please. So to talk about some of the difference between the warehouse management and our core ERP product, this slide can give you an idea of where functionality is there, or where it's to what degree it's enhanced in the EWM system. So obviously we have placement removal that are pretty complete in WM, but even extended in EWM. The mobile technology has a framework that is more flexible, including things such as a wizard for modifying the mobile screens that includes adding fields, moving fields, hiding fields, that can be done by a regular implementation person without having to have ABAP programming knowledge. And then things like dock scheduling, slotting, deconsolidation, labor management are completely new within the EWM solution. Next slide, please. So when we talk about a best-in-class solution, what are some of the main things that we're trying to offer? One of them, we talked about transparency and visibility, is analytics. And so in a warehouse management situation, the transaction volume is very high. So rather than traditional reports and so forth, we are embedding analytics in a lot of screens where a manager is monitoring or managing a process, so that you can quickly see productivity fallouts or whether you're running behind in certain areas and make adjustments very quickly. So we have a lot of tools at our disposal, cockpits, dashboards, and embedded analytics that we have built into the system. And this is a huge part not only for SAP in its entirety, but it brings a lot of technology, including the HANA database and then the reporting capabilities it brings that we can use in warehouse management. And I'll talk a little bit about that in the roadmap coming up. A very important one is optimization. In the execution applications in general, including warehouse management, there hasn't been as much investment in using technology, information technology, to optimize as we've seen in planning or even manufacturing some 20 years ago. And that's really changing. And one of the subjects, or the main subject of today's call, wave management, is an example of a great way how you can take the amount of work and optimize processes such as pallet building, pick path, matching resources. Also, though, in ways that we can create optimal work packages and then match them with the appropriate resources in real time. So there's a lot of built-in optimization that really helps the warehouse run more efficient, and it really it's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, but the information technology can really help you. And I've talked with a lot of analysts that agree that we're a lot of things that we've done in production, we really could schedule warehouse work better, and that's happening. Performance is another huge topic. We have to be able to scale. So with EWM, we have customers running, some running with over 50, 70 warehouses on a single instance. We have customers running 450,000 line items a day, or running 40,000 line items in a peak hour. So the system is very scalable, and doesn't, has to be able to support both large and small warehouses with high performance. Material flow system control is another area where extended warehouse management is helping you eliminate controller software between the WMS and the PLCs that are controlling conveyors or rack feeders or so forth. And so not only do we help you eliminate a layer that has usually quite a high maintenance cost, but it allows you to model the entire physical operation as well as the business operation in a single system. So you can see in a graphical layout in EWM, for example, not only the layout, but whether communication points are open, if too many pallets or cases are building up on a conveyor segment, and so forth. And of course, support for warehouse technology. And this is not only, of course, barcode scanning, but also we support integration with voice recognition, which is a lot of customers using that. We also have native integration for RFID. And we're working on prototype right now and expect to have a beta version out this month, where EWM is working with augmented reality glasses. So something really cool in that area going forward. And then last but not least, warehouse systems are usually quite customized to the individual facility. And a lot of times this locks you in and makes maintenance and upgrades expensive. In EWM, we have over 450 business add-ins in that application alone that allow you to adapt the functionality to particular business needs without jeopardizing your maintenance or upgrade. Next slide, please. So the deployment options, we have 3 deployment options from architectural standpoint. EWM was originally on the SCM server, so delivered as part of SCM. And with this, you can connect to multiple ERP systems. So that's another change we made in the architecture, where we could have separate owners in our stock segment. So these could be different divisions. If you're a 3PL, they could be different, your customers' ERP systems even. As of 9.0, we made it possible to deploy EWM directly on a NetWeaver platform. So the advantages here are that you don't have such a large code footprint to install, but it also allows you to put SAP Transportation Management on the same instance as EWM. And so this is part of our strategy of having the execution applications working, which are mainly TM, event management, and of course warehouse management. And then of course with all these, or with both of these, you can connect not only to SAP ERP, but we have some customers connecting to also a legacy ERP. A lot of times that depends on their rollout, and they need to bring the EWM up earlier. Or they, in some cases, like the EWM functionality and don't know if they're going to use SAP on the back end or not. And finally, a third option, EWM can be installed as an add-on to ERP. The drawback here is that you don't have the high availability that you do with the others, that if ERP is down, then EWM is also down. But we do have some customers actually using this productively, a lot of them using it for their test and development systems. But the productive customers are mainly where the ERP footprint is fairly small, such as logistics service providers. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to just do a quick introduction into wave management, and then I'll be turning it over to Michelle, who will go into the detail of how wave management works in extended warehouse management. So wave management really almost is inherited from the days when systems were very batch-oriented, and your WMS may have been receiving orders from the back-end system, maybe only a few times a day or maybe even once a day. So what they gave the ability to do is you had a body of work that you could kind of slice and dice and optimize your processes. But most of the analysts agree that even today in real time that there's still an advantage with wave management because basically we're creating time fences of when things have to be done. And that's not only that the order ships out, but whether repackaging has to happen or packaging, value-added services. So the difference between picking a pallet and loading it onto a truck, or picking cases that need to have an overpack or maybe have to have a value-added service done to them, can start at different times. And wave management allows you to do this leveling and meet the your required time fences. So these can be automatic or interactive. So they do give you the ability to level out the work, and it's one of the first levels of optimization that we see in EWM. And so now I'll turn it over to Michelle, who will go in more detail of how this process works. Michelle?
Thank you, Richard. So hi, Michelle Yingling. The important part about the extended warehouse management that we're going to cover today is the flexibility and how do I optimize the warehouse. So the wave creation, whether we're going to do it automatic, you're going to see that. Manual, I'm not going to go through all this because you will see it live in the system. As a manager or a supervisor in the warehouse, I need to have a monitor. How are we doing? Are we late on the deliveries? And we're going to be walking through a delivery process today. I need to know where we are, where we may need some help, where we may need to reschedule. And then as far as the wave release, am I going to do it manual, automatic, lock it and unrelease it? So we're going to go through that. So Shankar's going to be doing the actual demo, and he's on the call right now. So if we could go to the next slide, please. The business process that we're going to go through today, understanding how the warehouse works and how we need to optimize our waves to reduce, time spent out on the warehouse floor. We're going to go through actually having an automatic wave created, go through the monitor, and how do we see that. So the first step, the wave creation, is we're going to just show you a couple of the rules on how can we be flexible and optimize based on the rules within your wave picking. And what we're going to talk about and what we're going to, the storyline that we're going to have is we have a freezer, we have a refrigerated section, and we have a dry goods section. So those waves and those automatic wave creations may have different rules. Once we create the rules and the conditions with seasonality, we'll go into the monitor. With the next step that we're going to take is, that's great. We want 95% of our waves automatic. but there may be times that we need to do a manual wave. So on step 3, we'll show a manual wave, and then we'll just discuss the pick, pack, ship process within SAP. So Shankar, next slide, please. So let's talk about the capabilities within the extended warehouse management within SAP. So Shankar, next slide, please. Here's the importance of any warehouse is out there. Once I have the outbound deliveries, which may be a stock transport order from one warehouse to the other, it's a sales order. Today we'll be talking about sales orders and deliveries. Once the demand comes into the warehouse, the rules that SAP will allow you with the flexibility and the optimization is, how do I want that wave to be automatically generated? For instance, on this particular process, we may want waves picked on certain routes, whether it's FedEx, UPS, zip codes, customers, ship to, whatever carrier we're going to use. The templates that we will generate within SAP is that the capability is, how is this wave picked? The other important process is that this template can be used over and over, so I can copy it from one warehouse to the other and then tweak it to my demand. So if I have a template that says, here's my cutoff, here's my when I release it to the warehouse, and here's where I want to start tracking the warehouse processes and how we're doing on our wave picking. So very flexible, and it's going to optimize the warehouse so we can get those orders on the forklift, or whether they're hand-picked, to the staging door to get it to our customer on time. Next slide, please. So for a demo case, for an example that we're going to use today, we have a customer, XYZ, that their goal in the warehouse is to be able to optimize and be flexible enough to ship 20,000 shipments in a day. Once that demand comes into the warehouse, the waves will be automatically generated. So let's look at how we can set those rules, conditions, and how the warehouse supervisor can look at the monitor on what's going in the warehouse. So Shankar, if you want to go to the system, please. We'll talk a little bit about the left-hand side because it's very powerful in SAP, and Shankar will walk you through that. The condition records right now that we're looking at is have carriers that we may want to do the automatic wave picking ship to. What are the rules that if you're walking through your warehouse day, what are the rules, how do we want to be able to capture the information on how we're going to ship it? So based on the warehouse number, we can have multiple rules on how we're going to ship it. A perfect example of this is that there is different ways within the warehouse that I want to create my wave. So if I'm in a frozen food section, I don't want the frozen foods to go to the staging area before my dry foods. So you can actually set up the rules based on if it's frozen. We'll do the wave for that after the dry goods are placed on the staging area. If it's refrigerated, we can start picking that a little bit earlier before the frozen, and if it's dry goods, we can set up a template that you can start picking 3 days in advance if you have the capacity within your warehouse. The other nice thing on the flexibility and the optimization on the warehouse within extended warehouse management, on the validity from and to, when I'm in a seasonality situation, so let's say it's the frozen foods we need to get shipped to the grocery stores within this certain section of time, we can have the same warehouse with different validity dates from and to. So from this, we're at the top of our seasonality. these are the different rules. I want the cutoffs a lot shorter. I want to be tracking my employees a lot better. And then when we're on the down seasonality, we can have different rules set up for that warehouse. So next slide. Next. And here's where it will just show you that based on a particular warehouse and the template that we were talking about, here's where we're going to set it off where the demand's coming in. When do I want to cut off that wave? When do I want to release it in case I just want to review it? And then when do I want to put it by? So the optimization, the flexibility, there'll be reports that as a supervisor, I need to know how I'm doing within that optimized wave within SAP. So I'm just going to take you into the actual monitor on how, as a supervisor or manager, can I see what's happening in my warehouse. So if you want to take it over, Shankar.
Thanks, Michelle. Good evening, everyone. As told by Michelle, I'm just going to go through how the automatic wave got created. The planner, he just selects the wave, and for the delivery items that have been created, these are the two waves that got automatically created, and is 4,405, 4,008. If you just click on that and see what are the items that are in this wave, we can see that there are two outbound deliveries, and 3812 and 3814. These are with the same route. This got assigned to the same wave, and whereas the other wave has got the other assigned to the delivery 3813. Since the rules are based on the route, we have got, as Michelle told you, we can set up different rules based on the carrier ship to party. Since we have set up our rules based on the route, here we can see that for different routes, and we have the wave and the delivery assigned to it. So now I'll just hand over to Michelle for 1 sec. Just hold on, there's a lag here. Now Michelle will take over and talk about the manual wave creation. Michelle, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Shankar. So the automatic wave creation is going to come in. The supervisor is going to look at the demand that's out on the warehouse right now. Shankar just showed you how we're able to create the automatic waves based on the demand, based on the rules, based on seasonality. There may be a time that a customer will call you or call the customer service representative and will ask if we can do the immediate delivery of items because their customer asked for an immediate delivery. So the flexibility within SAP is let SAP Extended Warehouse Management drive 95% of your automatics. But we know in the real world that customer may call and say, can you please deliver it? So the capabilities are there within SAP that I can do a manual wave based on meeting our customer orders, and we want to make them happy. So Shankar is going to show you how we can actually go in and create the manual wave.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.
I'm just in the wave, manual wave transaction. Based on a demo case, what I'll do is I'll just create a manual wave and give the date, today's date. And what planner will do is we'll just go to the request and select the search for the deliveries to be assigned to it. Here, these are the deliveries that are common. He selects two deliveries and assigns deliveries to this wave, and these are the manual wave, and just go save. And after save, you can just check on the items, and these are the items that got assigned to this manual wave, and this manual wave is ready for release. Normally, the release is done manually because it has to be done. It goes to the monitor, and that's the manual release. Then I over to Michelle, and she will take over.
Okay, so we did go through the wave creation. We went through the wave monitor. We went through the wave release. The other thing that is very powerful within the extended warehouse management process is that we can lock a wave for some reason. A customer calls and they say the road conditions, everything's not right, please lock it. We can unlock waves once they call back and say we have our power back on, can you please ship the product? Can we merge waves? And what that means within SAP, for instance, is if we had to lock a wave because our customer informed us that they need to postpone the delivery, we can lock that. Once that's locked, they're going to contact us. But at the same time, what SAP will do with the extended warehouse management functionality is that if this particular customer or route has orders that are due to be picked today, the waves can be automatically, which is then optimize your warehouse. You don't need to pick frozen goods section or dry goods section. Let's merge those waves. We're really number one, the warehouse time, our employees' time, so we can get to the staging or inside to get to our customers as quickly as possible. I'm going to show you that the flexibility. Warehouses are changing real time, non-stop, typically 24/7. So we want to show you handle that within customer requirements and with warehouse requirements.
We come back to the monitor, as previously told, these are the warehouse monitors, one of the powerful tools available in SAP, wherein you can not only consider the reports like any inbound specific reports can be seen, can be drilled down and seen by the warehouse planner, the physical inventory, the stock, the resource management, what are the resources that have been handled, and the labor management. These are SAP, it's a very powerful tool, the warehouse monitor. And in this case, what we are going to do is, since the planner has got a message from the customer to lock the way because of some weather, here it drills down the methods. In this method, you can see various options are available. What he does is he just selects the wave and selects the lock wave. He gets a message saying that one wave has been read and been changed, and he just selects on that. The wave has been locked, and after 2 or 3 days, what he does is he just wants to unlock it. He just goes back to the same wave, and after 2 days, he just selects the unlock, and the wave gets unlocked. And after some time, you can see that these are the items that are available, and what he decides is, okay, let me merge those waves and release them together so that it goes in one shot. What he does is, again, selects those 2 waves and go back to the method section and click on the merge, and what happens is these 2 waves get into one wave. This is the merger happens, and after the merge, what he does is he selects the wave items, you can see that all the deliveries, the outbound deliveries are into this one wave, and this wave is ready for release. Now we can see that we have seen the locking of the wave, the unlock of the wave, and the merging of the wave, and the wave is ready for release. Michelle?
Thank you, Shankar. So the processes that we went through, and on the screens that you just saw, when we originally started our discussion, there's the rules for the warehouse and the conditions within that screen. As a manager, as a supervisor, as I'm locking, unlocking, I can actually see what are the rules, what are the templates that we're setting up for this wave. So the integration, the flexibility, and the optimization within SAP, you will be able to see that at that wave monitor. This is huge. It's functionality that as a former warehouse supervisor, I need to see real time. I need to optimize my warehouse and move on to the pick, pack, ship. So Shankar showed you the manual wave release on the third step in our business process. Now what we'd like to know, do you want to go through the manual release, Shankar, or are you comfortable with what you just showed?
No, I'll just show the manual wave release.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
In our demo case, we just have that the warehouse supervisor gets an instruction that the order has been from the normal, it has become rush, so he does the manual wave release. So what we'll do is we'll just go to the monitor. Again, as I told you, the monitor is a very powerful tool. We just select the wave, and what he does is goes to the methods again and selects the release wave. What happens is after once the release happens, the subsequent, you can see here that 6 warehouse tasks has been created. These are the tasks and the warehouse orders that get created for the subsequent picking activity. So here you can see that for this wave, these are the tasks and these are the orders. Based on the warehouse order creation rules, these are the orders can be clubbed and assigned to the resource for the subsequent picking activity. Over to Michelle.
Great. Thank you, Shankar. So finally, we just want to reiterate the creation of the deliveries. We want to be able to help you optimize your warehouse. How flexible is it? Manual, automatic release, and then the final process we'll just talk to real quick is the pick, pack, ship process. So if you wanted to go to the next screen, there we go. This will be in a subsequent webinar that we're going to do. We will actually show you when the warehouse has brought it to the staging area, the pick, pack, staging, loading, and post-goods issue, because once we post-goods issue, the inventory is going to be updated. We're going to invoice our customer. The accountants are going to be happy. So this will be at a later date, but that's the follow-through on once I've worked through my optimized warehouse, what are the steps that we're going to have to follow. So that's something coming in the future. So Shankar, next slide, please. So in summary, there's multiple ways that we can optimize the warehouse within extended warehouse management. Not only is it on the shipping process that we showed today, it's the replenishment within your warehouse. So if I have fast moving but I have overstocked items, how do I replenish within the warehouse to bring it to the pallets, to bins within warehouse management? So the flexibility is not just in shipping for the waves. I have the way that we want to store the inventory, SAP does, how we want our bins set up, and how we're going to process through extended warehouse management. And the reason that this is so important is because, once again, you may have a warehouse or you may have multiple warehouses that you have different rules set up. So the flexibility and the optimization based on one warehouse with different rules, frozen, refrigerated, dry, or you may have multiple warehouses throughout the world, throughout the U.S. that operate differently. So the optimization process within the extended warehouse management system is, how do I run my warehouse? Can I be flexible? Do we have to do the same thing for each warehouse? Absolutely not. So this is just extended functionality that we'll get into in a later webinar. Next slide, please. Not to read off the slide, this is very important within a warehouse management process as a manager, supervisor, or I'm a picker and I'm on a forklift and I'm getting challenged to be able to pick quickly, get it to the door a lot more quickly. The transparency with what's going on in the warehouse real time is there within SAP. The accuracy, because everything is integrated within SAP, as we are doing real-time processes, whether we're creating the wave, releasing the wave, stopping the wave, we can capture that real-time on how we're doing within the warehouse. If we need to optimize the warehouse space, let's say there's empty bins and orders delivered or shipped, can we have SAP help us with the flexibility of optimizing the next put away, the next pick, the next replenishment? Absolutely. What we're doing at the end of the day, our goal is, as a warehouse manager, supervisor, when we are more efficient, it's going to reduce the warehouse cost, because I will not have to have overtime because of there's no stock in the inventory we thought there was. The forklift driver went to pick it, it's not there. That will really reduce your cost because of the real time. Finally, flexibility and scalability is really, really important, because as a warehouse person or as a client, we're always gaining more warehouses. We're always adapting to having more warehouses. We need the flexibility, because this product line may be growing where the other one may be scaling down. Can we have that flexibility, and can we still optimize within SAP? So just to kind of wrap it up on that, these are just some of the efficiencies within the extended warehouse system. Next slide, please. Now we're going to turn it over to Richard.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. So I'd like to talk just a few moments about the recent innovations in extended warehouse management and some future things we're looking at. Go ahead to the next slide. And this is just a disclaimer, because I will be talking about some forward-looking stuff. So this is kind of shows the momentum of the adoption of EWM. So as you see, we have over 1,000 sites running EWM Live, approximately over, well, actually by the end of the year, I think we're up to about 650 distinct customers. Also some statistics here, some sample reference customers, so you see a broad variety of industries, as well as geographical coverage. So we're not dependent on any certain industry. I mean, a lot of these are distribution intensive, but you have retailers, you have consumer products, including food consumer products, but also quite a bit of geographical areas. We're not dependent solely on Western Europe and North America. EWM is delivered in over 20 languages, and so we have a very broad installed base, both from an industry and geographical perspective. Next slide, please. So within our current release, 9.1, which is now our default release, some of the major enhancements were shipping cockpit. You can see kind of an example there. This is where you can do planning and monitoring, so create trucks, initiate things like printing of invoices or printing of paperwork. It also combines embedded analytics. It's linked also to the dock appointment scheduling tool. The other major enhancement is labor demand planning, which uses our in-memory database technology, HANA. So it allows for workload analytics in real time going against the transactional database, which is not possible without a tool such as HANA. So it allows you to look at different areas of the warehouse and both planned and current workloads, so waves that have not been released against a certain area, as well as picks that are in progress, and do this in real time. It can be, of course, displayed on a desktop, but as you can see from the user interface here, it's also designed kind of to be to work well on a tablet, so maybe someone walking around in the warehouse as supervisor. Then we have some other areas under continuous improvement, such as direct TM EWM integration, enhancements to doc appointment scheduling, which was released in 9.0 for the first time, enhancements to the quality management integration between ERP and EWM, and additional things that we do in practically every release are to reduce the cost of ownership and the cost of implementation. Examples of this would be additional monitoring nodes in the warehouse monitor to monitor the communication between ERP and EWM in a business-type language rather than a technical language, since most of the errors are due to things like master data errors, so business-type errors rather than technical ones. And then additional tools, pre-configurations to set up the warehouse quickly. Next slide, please. So this is an example of embedded analytics in the shipping cockpit. As I mentioned before, this is a big push we're doing so that in where I'm doing planning, I don't have to go to other reporting screens. I can see it all in a single pane, and these are configurable. Next slide, please. And this is an example of the labor demand planning. And so you can see here, for example, I'm looking at a certain small parts area. I can see the number of full-time equivalents needed over time. And in the bottom, in the donut graph, I can see how much of that has been released in the form of tasks and how much is still in deliveries, which means it hasn't been released to the floor yet. Next slide. And here's an example of the enhancements for the dock appointment scheduling. So in the example here, I have different groups of docks, for beverage, frozen, fruit and vegetable. Color-coded tells me whether the appointments have started, whether unloading or loading has started, whether it's complete or whether it's just planned. I can also do searches here and see, by carrier of certain color and so forth. And one of the enhancements here is to look at several loading points in one view and to have a flexible appointment length, not a predefined one. Next slide. So some of the things we're looking to deliver in the next release later this year, but even before that, is further deliver on the execute platform, so the convergence of communication between EWM, transportation management, and event management. Some other things coming actually in the second quarter and third quarter are additional analytics using HANA. So again, going against the real-time transactional system and being able to report and update immediately without a lag. In 9.2, which is planned for release in December, we have enhancements for production staging to address discrete industries and consumer products during production. Improvements in our material flow system to support double deep. Hub handling, which is to support warehouses that are more like transit facilities, where boxes kind of come in and are sorted and go out without a lot of actual warehousing going on. And as I mentioned earlier, we're already coming out with a beta version of augmented reality, combining the warehouse system with kind of like a Google Glass or a glasses type device that would guide the user where to go and what to pick and eliminate the need to pick up something for scanning. You can scan just by looking at something. Next slide, please. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Tom to talk about YASH's rapid deployment solution offerings.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard. This is Tom Hanslick again, and I wanted to talk about the extended warehouse management rapid deployment offerings that we packaged. YASH has created a package with the rapid deployment solution, and the point of the package is it allows you to, it brings in pre-configured software and implementation services to get you up and running fast. So some of the scope of the critical warehouse process that we include in this RDS are listed on this slide in detail. You just saw wave management, but the other processes, of course, are internal processes, inbound processes, outbound processes, and RF. The point of the RDS is it allows you to reduce risk, get a predictable time and cost of the project, and allows you to get a rapid ROI. So it's a nice packaging, so it's not a huge IT project where you can do a point solution and solve the challenges you are facing in your warehouse environment. Another thing that YASH will do for you is a value engineering study. So what we will do is we'll bring our subject matter expert and we'll measure your performance against industry peers, and we'll use the SAP benchmarking tools to come up with the results of how your environment operates today. So some of the KPIs that we'll look at are fill rates, pick accuracy, order ship cycle times, and then we'll compare those to best in class. And after we do the study, we will create a business case for your warehouse management project, provide you with an implementation roadmap and an ROI analysis. The benefits to your company will be, define the scope, reduce risk, and obviously the recommendations for a future roadmap. YASH Technologies is going to be at Sapphire, June 3rd through June 5th, and you can visit our booth. It's number 365, and we will be providing a live demo of additional warehouse management, extended warehouse management functionality. So if you happen to be in Orlando at this time, please stop by our booth, and we will provide additional demonstrations to you. We have a series of webinars, as I spoke to in the beginning. So the future webinars we have slated are replenishment optimization, labor management, and RF and mobility. So watch for the meeting invites so that you can attend those.